Day 2 was the first full day of diving. It was also the day that Hot Wheels spent the most time with us. Eventually, Elsa and Emily showed up, but the first part of it was almost entirely Hot Wheels paying us a visit and trying to figure out who we were. Hot Wheels made several passes. Generally, she kept her distance. The curious reef shark, on the other hand, was more than happy to get up close and personal. A nurse shark as well came in for some petting and stroking. This was about as close as Hot Wheels ever got to me. The distance that she tended to keep made her feel safe, certainly made me feel comfortable, and it was obvious that she was curious and not threatening. Elsa, on the other hand, almost immediately did a flyover on arrival. Emily, too, was happy to get close as she investigated the people who came to visit. Grinch made an appearance as well. I was not the only person to get special attention from Emily and Elsa. They seemed determined to figure out each person and visited each of us closely. Emily also came in for some individual, special attention from one of the dive masters. The lemon sharks would often cruise in low, staying close to the sand. They paused periodically and stopped on the sand, almost seeming to invite some special attention of their own, as they did seem to enjoy the petting they got later on. Pretty hot on their heels came Grinch, who was simply majestic in the effortless, almost lazy passes she made. The Grinch was very curious and made many passes as close to me as she could. While initially unnerving being this close to her, I honestly think she was just trying to gauge who was going to be willing to give the attention she wanted. She got many strokes as she passed by me. Emily, Grinch, and Elsa sometimes all came together, which made it harder to track who was where, but none of them was concerned with more than treats and attention. While the usual pattern for the tiger sharks was to come in low and slow and swim up to the bait box, possibly grabbing a treat, and then swimming overhead to get out of the stream before circling back around to do it again. This was by no means the only pattern they followed. Sometimes they would come in high and then sink down to the bait box, which always surprised us. Grinch slowed down on one pass just to give us a really good view of her. Sometimes it felt a little chaotic with all the sharks swimming around. Most of them we didn't have to worry about. A few of them we kept a close eye on. But it never felt out of control. Once we started to get used to how the flow of things worked, it truly was a very peaceful and relaxing experience. There was an exception to this, and that was when Emily and Elsa decided that they were more interested in a piece of fish from the bait box than they were in being social. And they started to shake the bait box, which released a piece of fish, and that in turn led to a real-world sharknado. The only thing for us to do was to back away and wait for that to settle down. Once it did, we were able to resume interacting with the sharks as though nothing had happened. They each made a few passes, almost as if to apologize for their indiscretion and to assure us that everything was okay. At sunset, it was time for our evening dive. That was usually for an hour, and then sometimes a bit more. It was a different environment. The sharks seemed more calm and relaxed. I was a little less so at first, but eventually settled in. It was impressive to watch the sharks appear out of the darkness. I also got my first chance to make friends with a lemon shark who had been coming by most of the day and pausing on the ground in front of me. The evening was a time where I could come by and relax with her for a bit. Jim tried to help me get my arm underneath Nakawe so that I could lift her for a quick cuddle, but I also stopped rubbing on the snout, and that gave her the signal that I was done, so she was getting mixed communication and decided it was time to just leave. One last visit from Emily rounded out the night nicely, and then it was time to go back to the boat and get some much-needed shut-eye.